The Chaser Report is recorded on Gadigal land.
Striving for mediocrity in a world of excellence. This is the Chaser Report.
Hello and welcome to the Chaser Report with Dom and Andrew Hansen once again. The least informed coverage of the Olympics. And Andrew, for today's effort, we're not even going to talk about the vague understanding of the events of Paris 2024 that have filtered into our feeds as we did yesterday. We're going to talk about Olympics gone by.
Well, we are, and specifically, Olympic mishaps and stuff-ups, because, if you caught yesterday's episode, we were talking about the fresh stuff-ups from this Olympics. There were some food shortages. The South Korean athletes were introduced as being North Korea, their lifelong enemies. So I'm going to test your knowledge today about mishaps and blunders from Olympics past.
Oh, very good.
We're going to dive into that.
I'm looking forward to it. Andrew, can you give us a very exciting and dramatic introduction, please, to this quiz?
So this is a quiz that I like to call Olympic Games Minor Mishaps.
And the synthetic crowd goes wild.
Yes, well, some of them are actually slightly bigger than minor, but they're mostly fairly minor. Let's see.
I think it's the mishaps and the controversies that, make the games more memorable. I mean, one gold medal is very much like another after a while. Australia winning a swimming relay medal gotten monotonous now for the women.
Yeah, you don't want it to go too smoothly, do you?
No.
I mean, you don't really want it to go too well.
Absolutely not.
Now, this one I'd like to ask you about, Dommy. A lovely story from the 1960 Olympic Games, which were held in Rome. Mm-hmm. And Suriname, the country, was very excited because it was the first time that Suriname had ever competed.
Oh, how exciting.
So, it was a pretty big deal for them, really. So there's this guy called mishaps,
right,
and he was all set to compete from Suriname. It was very exciting. They hadn't been in the Olympics before. Why did the Suriname runner mishaps not compete in the race? A, he was run over in the hectic Roman traffic. B, he was asleep. C, he lost both legs to an orca attack that morning.
Orcas somehow going up the magnificent Tiber River. Was there a Sharknado in Rome that day? Could well have been.
Well, you never know, Dommy. You never know.
It could be. All right, well, I mean, given my experience of Paris 2024, not due to any great disloyalty, just due to, having kids and being busy, I've slept through the whole of this Olympics so far, so I'm going to guess that that's exactly what happened here.
Dominic Knight, you are correct. Yes. Poor old mishaps was asleep, and he just missed his race because he had a nap. Although it appears
fair enough.
Fair enough, exactly. If you had to compete in the Olympics, or if I did, I'd prefer to have a kip as well. I wouldn't want to go out there in a stadium and run in front of thousands of people. I mean, of course you'd have a nap.
But also, he spent his entire life with Suriname not being in the Olympics. And then this one time, they changed the rules and go, okay, Suriname, you can have a go. He could be forgiven for just assuming, when you wake up and you don't know where you are or what you're doing. Probably just woke up and had no idea what was going on. I thought, well, Suriname's not the Olympics. The one thing I won't be doing here in Rome is competing. And he went back to sleep.
He just went back to sleep. I mean, look, and also, he had an extra excuse, which was that it wasn't really his decision. He was actually given the wrong starting time. Somebody told him that the race was going to start at a particular time, and they were wrong.
Oh,
and
that's awful.
Actually, it wasn't his fault. He just had a nap and then woke up, and then it's like, you know how I said that the race was starting at 2:30? You've actually missed it.
Oh, it's on TV, though. We haven't invented video cassette recorders yet, so you can't watch it, but it did happen. Wow.
Couldn't even watch the catch-up.
Can you imagine?
Sleeping through.
Can you imagine? I mean, my only hope in this story, Andrew, is that he wasn't very good because, Suriname hadn't been competing. He may have just been a random guy from Suriname who happened to be working in Rome or something, rather than if he'd spent his entire life training to be a runner, and maybe he'd been the one pushing for Suriname to be admitted to the games, just to finally get his shot in the spotlight, only to sleep through it. Oh my goodness, that's very, very sad.
That's all him. They were only there because of him. Oh dear.
Is Suriname, are they competing this time around? Did you see them floating down the...
Well, if they haven't been given the wrong time of day to show up, then I suppose they might be.
Absolutely.
You know, if we're going to shake a leg and get out of bed for it, I don't know. Oh dear, poor things. Anyway, so there you go. All right, next question. Well, next Olympic mishap for you, Dominic Knight, and for you listening too. See if you know this one. Why did Thomas Hamilton Brown of South Africa get knocked out of the series of lightweight boxing matches in Berlin in 1936?
Oh,
Your choices are A, he put too much weight on overnight, B, he misplaced his gloves, or C, he kept pulling out a gun during the boxing fights.
well, I'm assuming, given this is 1936, this is the Nazi games. I assume pulling out a gun, bringing a, you don't bring a knife to a gunfight. It's the same sort of thing. I don't think they would have minded if he'd had a gun. I don't think there'd be any situation in Hitler's Germany where bringing a gun out would have been frowned on. So I don't think it's that. I reckon it's that the weight gain overnight, because having been to Germany just for very briefly myself, the amount of sort of rosti and schnitzel and stuff, beer I managed to consume within 24 hours, I think I would have put on weight. Several kilos. So I think he put on weight overnight. Yeah.
You're going to go. He went for weight overnight. Dominic Knight, you are again correct.
Fantastic.
Yes, indeed. Yes. I think even in the Nazi games, bringing a gun to a lightweight boxing match might have been a bridge too far.
Yeah, presumably that'll be part of the Los Angeles games though in 2028. I think that'll be.
Oh, I mean, compulsory.
They'll hand you one halfway through.
Presidential order. You'll be disqualified for not carrying a gun.
NRA will insist.
No. What happened to this guy? He was from South Africa. He actually lost his opening round match first, right, but just normally. And he was so disappointed by that he went out and stuffed his face. He did some, what do they call it, sort of comfort eating or eating therapy.
Yes.
When you stuff your face to feel better.
I do. I know that feeling daily.
Well, you should become an Olympic boxer then, because that's what they do. Then, though, somebody came over to him and said, "Oh, look, actually, there's been a huge mistake. You didn't lose that round at all. You'd actually won. There was an error in the scoring."
Oh my goodness.
And he went, "Oh God!" But by that time, he'd already put away, 68 Kranskis, or
sure.
He'd had a Löwenbräu beer hall or a Munich. You
can carb load. It's not hard to carb load in Germany.
In Germany, like
strudel,
he was so full of sauerkraut. He was full of it, and the next day he was weighed so much more that he wasn't allowed to compete in the lightweight boxing anyway, and he was disqualified.
That's again very sad. Very, very sad story that you've managed to dredge up. But also the notion that spending the previous day absolutely gorging yourself on German food would make you better rather than worse at boxing. He would have gotten the crap beaten out of him if he was full of schnitzel and bratwurst and whatever.
That's right, turning up after a big meal at the Schnitz.
Probably did him a favour. Yeah. Yes, he just all-you-can-eat day at Schnitz. That's right.
It's not. You don't feel like competing in an athletic event after a Schnitzel.
I mean, the eating is an athletic event at some point with German food.
Well, it bloody should be. They should add competitive eating to the Olympics.
I'm sure, again, LA 2028, that's going to happen.
LA, yes. Look forward to LA.
Which I just realised, if Donald Trump wins this election, he's going to open, presumably. He'll preside over that games.
Oh, he'll be competing in the eating Olympics.
I think so. Sponsored by
with
McDonald's.
A gun. Oh, it'll be fantastic. I can't wait. I think he'd be very good at it. All right, now let's fast forward a little bit to the 1988 Olympics in Seoul, in South Korea. Dom Knight, quick, see if you can dig into your memory here. There was a bit of a blunder during the opening ceremony. A certain irony occurred with the release of the peace doves.
Oh no!
What happened to them?
Oh, the release of the peace doves. Look, did they mistime it so that they lit the torch before they released the doves? Were their flambé dove?
Indeed, you are correct. Yes. They were barbecued accidentally by the Olympic cauldron. So not the best symbolism, really.
I mean, particularly given the very fraught circumstances of the North Korea, South Korea tensions, to barbecue the doves, that must have boded very badly. Although that said, Korean barbecue is delicious. If they had a good dipping sauce there and some kimchi on the side, I think
bit of kimchi.
Fantastic.
Yes, a nice little soup.
Yeah.
The Chaser Report. News you can't trust.
One last one for you, and this is from the same Olympics, 1988, in South Korea. Dommy, can you tell us why were the judges suspended after the gold medal boxing round? Now, here are your choices. Why were the judges suspended after the gold medal boxing round, after the decision they made? A, they were asleep. B, they gave the gold medal to the loser. Or C, the judges started to box each other.
I don't want all of them to be true. Well, look, it's very easy to give an award to the wrong person. I mean, we all know it happened at the Olympics. It didn't happen at the Logies at one point as well. I'm not sure. I like to think it's because they were asleep, Andrew, and that they'd been out to have a beautiful meal of barbecued Korean dove the night before, wash it down with some beautiful sojus, and that was it. They perhaps went out to some karaoke or something and just had a good old time in Korea, and so slept through the match. And frankly, as someone who doesn't enjoy boxing very much, I think sleeping through boxing is just fine.
So you reckon they did a bit of a Suriname? Maybe they were Suriname judges.
That could have
fallen
been.
asleep.
Yeah.
Well, Dommy, you are incorrect on that particular one. This is the only one that you didn't get right. They actually gave the gold medal to the person who lost the match instead of the person who won.
Goodness.
It was a big blunder and quite a controversy, because this was an American boxer and he was fighting a South Korean boxer.
Oh.
And everybody there just figured that, well, the American guy won because he beat the absolute hell out of the Korean guy. He landed 86 punches.
Right.
Whereas the Korean guy only landed 32. And even the Korean guy, whose name was Park Si-hun, even he, when the match was over, just assumed he'd lost and looked really disappointed. But then the judges thought otherwise, and they handed the gold medal to the South Korean guy, and later they were suspended.
And that's just... Did the decision stand? Did he get to keep the medal?
Hey, this is look. My research doesn't extend.
Wow,
because
that's
don't
that's
ask
fantastic.
Me deep knowledge. Because I don't know.
I mean, you're a performing stand-up comedian. You know you've got to do a bit of local. Every gig, you've got to get up and give the crowd a little something, don't you? And you've got to share that you hate the same people that they hate. If you're in Geelong, you've got to make fun of Melbourne, or if you're in anywhere, you've got to make fun of Adelaide. That kind of thing.
That's right. Right. So you reckon they were just doing a bit of that?
Yeah.
Just pleasing the locals. Oh look, yeah, we'll give it to the South Korean guy who got the crap beaten out of him. Give him the gold medal.
I like that idea.
For effort.
I mean, I would have won a lot more fights in the playground as a child if that was the scoring system. I think I would have done well. This is when I was living in the UK. No one ever beat me up in Australia. We're not that kind of country. But in the UK, I was regularly beaten up for being Australian. It was a strange business.
Oh, well, you would have been.
Yeah, of course.
Absolutely, because you were a convict.
Yeah, they never tired of reminding me. That and the fact that I lived upside down somehow. They didn't understand the way gravity operates over there.
No, they wouldn't like that. No, they did. I know. I've got British relatives, and when they were younger, one of the kids said to me, So do you have Christmas in June? They really thought we did. Like, they genuinely. Yeah. That was a genuinely held belief.
Yeah, no, I can't tell you how many times people said, what's it like living upside down? It's like,
right.
How did your pissy little country have an empire that spanned time zones and hemispheres, and yet none of you could understand the notion that gravity operates consistently everywhere?
Dommy, you haven't gotten over these wounds, have you? You haven't gotten over
and
it.
they're exactly the sort of wounds that would just, if I were a boxing judge and if I was from Korea, maybe the judges were local and Korea was occupied by the US for quite some time, maybe I would little fuck you to Uncle Sam.
You'd go, here, have the gold.
Have the gold,
mate.
Have the gold.
I think we all know who won today.
Yeah, absolutely. Very good. Well, thank you for doing all that extensive research. I'm
exhausted.
I can only hope that more mishaps of this sort of part of the lasting legacy of Paris 2024, and indeed that alarms have been set. Perhaps people could go out, if you're listening and you're in Paris, go and cancel a few athletes' alarms, and your deeds will live long in history.
Oh, yes, and yes, that's right. And keep your earmuffs on as well, just in case Celine Dion reappears at another point.
They won't be able to stop it now, will they?
Oh, no, she's back. She's back, Dommy.
Terrifying. And perhaps this will be in the 2028 mishaps quiz, allowing Celine Dion to perform yet again.
Yeah, will be. Yeah, Dominic, yes. Yeah, that's right. Which performer who everybody had hoped their career had ended accidentally performed in the 24 Olympics?
I mean, it sounds like a horrible disease. We discussed this yesterday as well. I wouldn't wish stiff person syndrome on anybody, but by the same token, I would not wish, I know that my heart will go on anybody.
Well, you're a good man, Dom, a thoughtful fellow.
I am. Thank you, Andrew. We'll catch you next time.
Bye-bye.
Our gear is from Road. We're part of the Iconoclast Network. We will return to your feed with some form of the Chase Report or other tomorrow. Catch you then.